Assalamu alaikum students. In the last lecture, I have discussed about the analysis of indeterminate structures in which I have discussed the non-sway frames. And today I'm going to discuss the sway frames with analysis of sway frames on indeterminate structures by slope and deflection method. Well, as I already mentioned you in the last lecture that the sway frame is the one which have a lateral movement either towards the right or towards the left of the spot. So any frame in which the joints are not restrained against translation and they are called as side sway frames or side sway structures. The only exception to this is the symmetric frame, which symmetric loading is applied and the same length and same dimensions of the members are deflected. And so no doubt the frame do sway, but the same frame in the opposite directions. So it ultimately cancel out the effects of the sway. So to in order to move ahead or develop the analysis of the frames with the side sway, consider the frame shown in the figure ABCDA, in which a fluidal load having intensity of W is applied on the frame C to D, which is in the horizontal direction, while a vertical load in the members A to C, we have applied a load P at half of the or at middle of the member. So if the total height of the member is h, the load is applied at a distance of 0.5h from either end of the members, while there is no loading in the member B to D. Now, as if we draw the deflected shape of this member, we came to know that the member will tend to bend or tend to deflect towards the right side of the frame due to this applied horizontal load P. As cause there is no lateral restraint or there is no lateral support that resists the movement or translation of the frame in the horizontal directions, while the vertical direction movement of the frame is restricted by the supports A to B, which are fixed in the nature. And we know that the fixed supports they do not have a rotation and they do not have any translation, while if there is no horizontal support or there is no lateral restraint, then the joint C and D will tend to deflect and rotate freely. As we see that the joint C to D deflect only in the horizontal direction because there is no support in the horizontal direction, but they will not tend to move or deflect in the direction of the load in the perpendicular direction of the load applied P. If these member C to D is inextensible in nature, inextensible means there is no elasticity of the member, and if we apply the load, the member and we once remove that load, the member tend to defend or join back to its normal positions. Or I would say the simplest word, if the member is inextensible, then the deflection from both ends of the frame will be same, and if we call the deflection at the from the point towards C is delta, then at the point D it will be also this value will be delta. So the value of the deflection will be the same both in the sign of terms of the magnitude and in terms of the direction. So in such type of frame we will have a 3 degree of the freedom or 3 degree of unknown joint displacement, which is theta C, that is at joint C the member tend to deflect, similarly theta D at the other point of the member, and third is the deflection delta, that's horizontal displacements at both joints C and D. And we know that once a member is tend to deflect from its original position, there is a factor called as psi that will be considered or taken place in the development of the slope and deflection equations. So for the member A to C, psi AC will be equal to the member of the psi B to D, and its value will be equal to minus delta by H, because the delta is the deflection or the magnitude of the deflection, and h is the length of the total length of the member A to C or B to D, and its total length of the member is h. That's why it will be minus delta by h. Minus sign is due to the clockwise movement of the rotation of the member from its neutral axis as indicated here. While for the member C to D, the value of psi CD will be equal to 0, because there is no rotation or there is no value of reflection from the member C to D due to inextensible nature of the member. However, the point member C to D will have a deflection there to the displacement delta. So if we write the equation, slope deflection equation for my frame A to C, it will be 2EI over L, and the value of the length of the member here is h, so it will become 2EI over h into 2 times theta A, and the value of support theta A at the value of the support A will be 0, because it is a fixed in nature, and while plus theta C and plus 3 times psi. And the value of psi here is delta over h, plus fixed and moment in the member A to C due to the applied horizontal load value having load value of P. Similarly, the value of the moment in the CA will be equal to 2 EI over L, 2 times theta of C plus 3 times delta of H plus fixed and moment in the frame C to A. Similarly, in the frame B to C, we will have a same value of deflection, except that will be no fixed end moment, because in the member C to D we do not, there is no load is applied in the member C to D. So the value of the fixed end moment will be equal to 0 for both moment BD and the moment DB, fixed end moments. For the member C to D, we will have a slope and deflection equation, and it will be have a two unknown, that is theta C and the theta D, plus fixed and moment applied due to the applied UDL load having intensity of W, that will be called as fixed and moment C to D. Similarly, if we write the very slope deflection equation for MDC, it will become 2 over L into 2 times theta D plus theta C plus fixed and moment into C. Next, we know that after writing the slope and deflection equations, we write the equation of equilibriums. And here we have two unknowns, so that both joints we will write a equation of equilibrium at joint C and at joint D. At joint C, there are the two members are connecting, so it will become as MCA plus MCD equal to 0, and at joint D, it will become as MDB plus MDC is equal to 0. But as we already mentioned that we have three unknowns, that is our theta C, theta D and delta. So we need to have at least three equations to find the value of these three unknowns. So for third deflection, or for the third equation, or for third equilibrium equations, we will write the equation commonly known as the shear equations. And this equation, or the equation of here, is based on the condition that the sum of all horizontal forces acting on the member or acting on the free body of the frame must be equal to 0 in order to remain the frame stable and its original position. So if we draw the imaginary free and body diagram for the frame we are considering, if we have applied value of load B in the positive x-axis, the ultimately we are going to have a shear at both fixed poles in the neck towards the negative x-axis direction, or in the direction of the opposite to the applied load, and we called it as shear AC in the member A to C, and the shear SBD in the member B2D. And we will also have a fixed end moment at point A due to fixed force, that is MAC, and similarly at point B, which is MBD. And if we apply the equation of equilibrium having summation fx is equal to 0, then we will going to have a value of P minus SAC minus SBD equal to 0, in which SAC and SBC, as already mentioned, are the shear at the lower ends of the member A, C, and BD respectively. But in order to solve this equation, we need the value of shear AC and shear BD. And for in order to find out the value of the shears A to C and B to D, we will draw the free body diagrams of these two members separately and apply the moment or some of the moments at the other end or of the top of the column or at the other end of the members. And once we applied the fixed end moment or consider the value of the moment at point C and the member AC to 0, it will become as the moment AC, which is the fixed end moment at spot A or at point A, minus shear point A into total length of the member, which is H, and it will be in opposite direction because it is in anti-clockwise. It is in clockwise directions, plus the value of the applied load P into H by 2, or I would say the point 5 H, which is the distance between the point C and the applied load P, plus fixed end moment at point C, which is MCA, while the shear SCA will be 0 at point C because it is passing through the neutral axis or the point of the action of the applied moment. So once we simplify this equation, we will come up with this shear AC is equal to MAC plus MCA over H plus P by 2. We will get this value by simply getting the value of the shear AC towards other side of the equation and the value of PH by 2 towards the right side of the equation, and take the value of H common from both these, and once simplified we will get the value of shear AC as MAC plus MC over H plus P by 2. Similarly, we will find the value of the shear BD by applying the same equation at point D in the frame B2D, except that there is no point load, so it will be only dependent on the fixed end moment at point B and at point D plus shear at point P, while the shear at D will not be considered in the moment at the point D because it do not have any distance. So the end value for the shear BD will become as MBD plus MDB over H. So if once we have find out the value of shear AC and shear BD, we will put this equation in back into the third equilibrium of equation, which is P minus SAC minus SBD is equal to 0, and then we simplify it for our ease, and we it reduces to MAC plus MCA plus MBD plus MDB minus PH by 2 is equal to 0. So it will become our the third equation of equilibrium. And using these three equations, we will then find out the values of theta C, theta D, and delta. And once we will find out the value of these unknowns, then we will proceed with the rest of the analysis in the same manner as we did in the non-sway frames, which is that we will, once we find out the values of theta C, theta D, and D, we put those values back into the slope and deflection equations and find out the values of the exact values of the fixed end moment. And then we find out the joint displacements, and later on followed by the member end moments, member end shears, and member axial forces or member reactions, which are whichever the requested or the needed in the problems. In order To further elaborate the process, let's consider an example of the sway frames. Consider the frame A, B, C, and D as shown in the figure, in which the length of member A to C is 7 meter and the length of the C to D is again 7 meter, but it has a applied point load at a distance of 3 meter from point C, and while the length of the member B to D is 5 meter, while the value of E and I is considered taken as the constant. That is, the same value of EI will be used for all the three members of the frame. Now, how this equation or how this frame is sway frame in nature, because the length of the two frames is not same. And as I already told you that whenever there is asymmetry in terms of the dimensions or in terms of the loading, that frame will be considered as a sway frame. So, in order to solve this frame, we have to identify the number of unknowns, which are easily seen from the figure that we will have a three value of the unknowns, which are going to be theta c, theta d, and deflection delta. And the delta value for both frame will be same. One the next step after identifying the number of unknowns, we have to find out the fixed end moments, and for calculating the fixed end moments we use the fixed end moments table given at the back side of the cover of the book we are following in this course, which is the RC Hebler structural analysis by RC Hebler. So for the fixed end moment in the member A to C or C to D, or the member B to D or D to B will be 0, because there is no loading in the member A to C and member B to D. So once do not have any value of the load is applied on any member, the value of the fixed moment is going to be 0, while the only fixed end moment that we have in the member C to D. And for this member, fixed end moment for member C to D will be PAB square by L square, the formula which you will get from the fixed end moment table. And then we will substitute these values, we find out that its value is 39.2 kilonewton meter. Similarly, we will find out that the value of the fixed end moment at other member of the side of the frame, that is fixed FEMDC, and it will become as PA square B by L square, and its value comes out to be 29.4 kilonewton meter, and it will be in clockwise direction, so its value will be minus 29.4 kilonewton meter. Once we have the values of the fixed end moment, the third step is the calculation of the cohort rotation or the value of the size. So the value of psi AC will be equal to minus delta by L, and the length of here member AC is 7 meter. So it will become as minus delta by 7. Similarly, 5BD will become as minus delta by 5, because the length of the member B to D is 5 meter, while the value of size CD will be equal to 0, because there is no deflection of the member C to D in the vertical direction, because the member CD is going to deflect in the vertical deflection or vertical direction, and there is no such deflection in the member C to D. So the member is only going to deflect from its original position, and its value will remain same in x axis. So it do not have any value of deflection in the value in the horizontal or in the vertical direction, because it is restrained by these fixed end supports at point A and B. So only value of deflection is in the horizontal direction. That's why we only have the value of psi AC and psi BD, while the value of psi CD will be equal to 0. And the fourth step is the writing of the slope and deflection equations. And for the member A to C, the value of MAC will become as 2 EI over N into 2 times theta A, because our near end is joint A, and the value of theta A is will be equal to 0 because it is a fixed one, plus theta C minus 3 times of psi, plus fixed end moment, as there is no end fixed end moment, so its value again will be 0. The only value we have is the theta c and the value of delta. So once you simplify it, you will get the value of 0.286 ei theta c plus 0.122 ei delta. Similarly, we will write this using the same procedure. We write the equation for the fixed end moment CA, fixed end moment BD, and the fixed end moment DB. While writing the slope and deflection for fixed end moment CD and DC, will have the value of the fixed end moment, and it will be subtracted or added as per the condition or as per the sign convention in the slope and deflection equations. And the fifth step is the writing of the equilibrium equation. And already I have told you that there will be three equilibrium equations for writing the slope and deflection equations of sway frames. First one is the point C, where we have a rotation at point C, and it will become as MCA plus MCD is equal to 0. And second is theta D at point D, and it will become as MDB plus MDC is equal to 0. And the third equation is the summation equation of the forces in the x direction, that is shear equation for the entire frame. As we do not have any value of load in the x direction, so we will only have the shear at the supports that are fixed in nature, that is shear AC plus shear BD should be equal to 0. And in order to find out the value of these two shears, that is shear AC and shear BD, we will consider the member AC and BD individually and take the moment at the point C and point D respectively. And after taking the moment and simplifying the equation, we will find out that shear AC comes out to be moment at AC plus moment CA over 7, because the length of the member is 7. Because we're going and similarly shear BD equal to MDB plus MDB over 5. And once we substitute these values back into the shear equation, that is shear AC plus shear BD is equal to 0, we will get these two values simplified form as 5 times of MAC plus MCA plus 7 times MBD plus DB is equal to 0, because we have to take the LCM of 7 and 5, and then we have to cross multiply these two each other to further simplify this equation. Once we have these three values of joint displacements, that is theta c, theta d, and delta, we will put these equations back into the equilibrium equations, that which is the at point c, at point d, and at point delta. So we will have three equations, that is MAC plus MCA, MCD is equal to 0, second is MBD plus MDB is equal to 0, and third we have a shear AC plus shear ABD is equal to 0. And as we see in the equation, we have three equations and we have three unknowns, that is theta C, theta D, and delta. So we will going to solve these equations simultaneously, and we will find out the values of EI theta C, EI theta D, and EI delta. And EI, the value that we are obtained after solving these three equations is EI theta C comes out to minus 40.21 kilonewton meter square. EI theta D comes out to 34.24 kilonewton square, while the value of EI theta comes out to be minus 25.177 kilonewton meter cube. Once we have the values of EI theta C, EI theta d and ei delta, we will find out the exact values of the member and end moments by substituting these values back into the slope and deflection equation, which is a step 4. So we will find out the values of MAC, MCA, MBD, MDB, MCD, and MDC. The values which are negative indicates that the moment is in clockwise directions, while the values which are in the positive indicates that the moment is in anti-clockwise direction. Then in the eighth step, we will carried out the equilibrium check of the equilibrium equation, that whether we are getting the same values or not, and the equation that we write is that MCA plus MCD is equal to 0, and the value of that MCA comes out to be minus 26, and MCD value comes out to be plus 26. So ultimately it is going to be cancelled out with each other, and we will get the value comes out to be 0. There is a mistake. It's 26 minus 26. Similarly, the other equation will also will be satisfied, and ultimately you get the satisfying result for the third equation as well. Once you have the values of these, remember, end movements, you will simply put these equations or put these movements back into the original frame, like we did in the non-sway frames or in terms of in the beam structures, and find out the values of member and shears by applying moment individually or taking moment at any spot under each member individually, and we will get the values of the shear for member A to C as 5.8 at point A, and at point C comes out to be minus 5.8, because there is no loading in the member A to C, which is horizontally directed. So its value will be the same but opposite in the directions. The same value will be observed at member B to D, and its value again, the values will be 5.8 and minus 5.8. But if we get the value of positive at point A, at point B it will be minus 5.8, because the same moment she get but is in opposite directions. So in order to get the balance equation for the entire frame. And similarly we will find out the values of the shears for member C to D as well, and the values of shear that we get for the member C to D as 23.53 and 16.47, because we in this frame we have a loading of 40 kilonewton in the member, which results in the different values of the moment or different values of the shears. And similarly when we find out the reactions or member axial forces in the member each member of the frame. Once we have these values of these member and shears or the member axial forces, then you can use these values find out the support reactions of the entire frame. Once the reactions are founded out, you can easily draw the axial force diagram, shear force diagram, and moment diagram of the entire frame, whichever is requested or whichever is needed as per the requirement. So that's all for today. You will follow this if we have a sway frame with the support settlement. You will follow the same steps that I have taught you, except that you will get the values of the cohort for the horizontal member as well, which is member C to D in this case well. So it we will get the values of that member as well. Rest of the analysis and the rest of the steps for this frame is going to be same as I told you in this lecture. I hope you will get a clear idea of how to apply the slope and deflection method for the analysis of these sway frames which are indeterminate in nature. But if you have still any doubt, you can ask me at any time. For the timing, that's all for today lecture. Thank you for listening patiently. Allah Hafiz.